So I gotta be honest, I didn't expect to be making this video so soon after I made last week's Forza Horizon 6 news video, but here we are. Quick recap for those of you who might have missed it. Last week, I uploaded a video titled Forza Horizon 6 might be taking place in Japan. In that video, we broke a news story where an Australian car dealer had photographed a Forza Horizon developer out at their dealership scanning K-cars, Japanese K-cars. In that video, we basically broke down all the information from the car that was actually being scanned to the developer who was actually doing the scanning and if the whole thing was legit. And long story short, that news piece went absolutely viral. Literally every single website, a ton of YouTubers and everything in between picked up the news story and ran with it. Now, I mean, most of them ran with it without giving any credit, but that's not the point of this video. Bit of a fun fact for you, I was actually sent that screenshot on August 10th, and I sat on that photo for nearly 2 weeks before I decided to upload that video last week. Anyways, long story short, ever since we broke that news story, everybody and their mother has been shouting Forza Horizon 6 Japan, Forza Horizon 6 Japan. I mean, to be quite honest, people have been shouting Forza Horizon Japan ever since Forza Horizon. However, this is actually the first time we actually have some evidence pointing towards Forza Horizon Japan. Prior to this, everybody's been kind of wanting Japan, but there's never been any real indications going, yeah, Japan's happening in Forza Horizon 3 because of this, this, and this. It was never really like that. This is the first time we've got some actual evidence pointing towards that. And today, we just got some brand new news that we need to talk about that I think might make Forza Horizon 6 Japan even more likely. So let's jump into it. Yesterday, the lovely people over at Windows Central put up this article. The article started off breaking down the news story that we shared from last week, and we sort of kind of said the same thing about how the developer was spotted in Australia scanning K-cars, which doesn't confirm Forza Horizon 6 in Japan, but kind of raises the possibility for it, and so on and so forth. However, what followed that was extremely interesting and is some brand new news that we need to talk about. They said this: of course, Windows Central has more to add to the story thanks to our sources. Windows Central has seen documentation suggesting Forza Horizon 6 will be announced at this year's Tokyo Game Show. They say we've seen widely circulated documents strongly suggesting Forza Horizon 6 is actually planned to be announced during 2025's Tokyo Game Show, an annual gaming-focused conference kicking off in Japan towards the end of September. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That is a lot that we need to break down. Number one, what is the Tokyo Game Show? The Tokyo Game Show is an annual game show that obviously takes place in Tokyo, Japan. It's sort of like a mini E3 of sorts, kind of like a Gamescom where developers will go out there, publishers will go out there to showcase their new products, their new games, their new stuff that they want people to buy. This year, the Tokyo Game Showcase is happening on September 25th to September 28th. Anyways, over the past couple of years, Xbox has actually been attending the Tokyo Game Showcase with a bigger and bigger scale, sort of, kind of, pretty much every single year. And for this year, Xbox has already announced that they're going to be at this year's Tokyo Game Show, and it's going to make it one of the biggest Tokyo Game Shows ever. If we go back to the Windows Central article, they go on to say, with the Tokyo Game Show focused on the Japanese gaming market, choosing to reveal Forza Horizon here rather than at events like Gamescom only makes sense if the game is in fact set in Japan. What I find particularly interesting is it's not just one of these pieces of information that makes or breaks the story. It's kind of when you add them all up together, it makes you go, yeah, this news seems possible and almost likely now. We already have direct confirmation from the developers that they're rescanning JDM cars like the Nissan S15 and the Toyota AE86, for example. We have this leak of the developer scanning more JDM K cars, and we have this piece of news from Windows Central now suggesting that Forza Horizon 6 is going to be getting announced during this year's Tokyo Game Show. And it's when you add all of those pieces together, it really makes you go, Japan's looking very, very likely. Now hear me out, because I think this might be an absolute galactic brain play. Get your little tinfoil hats on. Everything I'm about to say is just vibes and thoughts that I've had, but it kind of coincides with vibes and thoughts that I've had, and it kind of makes sense. Hear me out. I've said for a while that Forza Horizon 6 and GTA 6 are kind of in this everlasting game of chicken. Very expensive game of chicken, where only one side is kind of playing. I've been saying for a while that it doesn't seem like a very smart decision, and I doubt the developers would want to put Forza Horizon 6 in a release window anywhere near to GTA 6. Although the games aren't direct competitors, there is a ton of overlapping audience, and I would imagine from a Forza Horizon side, they want to stay as far away from a GTA 6 as possible. Forza Horizon has always followed the classic release schedule. Announce the game in June, release it in September, October, November sort of timeline, and that's what they've done for every old Forza Horizon game. But that might be changing when they're going up against the behemoth that is GTA. If they do in fact announce the game in September, I've got to assume we will not be seeing this full in-depth trailer showcasing all of this stuff. I've got to assume it's going to be a smaller sort of teaser trailer, kind of going nod for, hey, Forza Horizon 6, Japan, we're announcing it in Japan, expect more news soon. That's what I kind of expect to see. And just to add on to that, the developers can always play it super safe and just give a general release date of 2026, which kind of gives them a massive release window. If GTA 6 comes out in May like they're supposed to, then hey, great, Forza Horizon can go with their usual release schedule, September, October, November, whatever they choose to do. If, or I should say when, GTA 6 inevitably gets delayed again, Forza Horizon can go, yoink, let's pick up that spring release date from them, let's drop it then, GTA can do whatever GTA does later on, we're not worried about that. I think that is a galactic brain play. I know I've said it before, but I feel like I have to say it again. Back in Forza Horizon 5, the reason the developers wanted to focus on that location is because it was an emerging market for Xbox. Xbox saw massive growth in Mexico and Spanish-speaking countries in general, and they wanted to give a nod to that audience by basing the game in Mexico, having those players drive around familiar locations for them, and grow that market for Xbox even more. So here's the thing, the Xbox has always struggled in Japan, but right now, Xbox is actually doing really, really well. The Xbox Series generation has already outsold the Xbox One generation by over double. And if you combine that with Xbox's overall growth across Asian markets in general, this kind of makes a lot of sense. Like I said though in my last video, we will have to see. If we're going to hear about Forza Horizon 6 actually taking place in Japan, and if we are going to get a reveal trailer, although Xbox hasn't announced it themselves, last year's showcase took place on the Thursday. I would imagine this year's showcase would also take place on a Thursday. That would mean September 25th, 2025, we might be hearing about Forza Horizon 6 for the first time. Until then, though, we'll have to wait, which is what I said in last week's video, right up until some more news broke. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Goodbye now.